everyone. Good morning to you all. This is Bhavani, Product Manager from QA Touch. I'm glad to welcome you to our QA Touch 12th Masterclass. DCCAP is a digital commerce company and it is the parent company of QA Touch. Apart from DCCAP, we have other three products like Chloris, Flexipin, and Bisbee. Emna IRD, test coach, co-author of the book 21st Skills of Testers, 21st Century Skills for Testers, blogger, conference speaker. Emna is a passionate tester and detail-oriented who loves to analyze root causes, test, collaborate with diverse people, and investigate issues. She is also an organizer of the Ministry of Testing meetup in Tunisia. She usually shares her knowledge from the conferences with great sketch notes. Apart from testing, she has an awesome garden with a variety of flowers, fruits. I personally love the sunflower from her garden. I'm glad to welcome Emna Ayadi on behalf of QA Touch community to share her wisdom with us now about testing beyond your project. The beautiful thing about learning is nobody can take it away from you. It's the great quote given by B.B. King. Yamna, we are all waiting to learn from you. Here, yeah. Go ahead, Yamna.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this QA Masterclass hosted by QA Touch. Many thanks to all the organizers of this awesome online event, and especially for Bhavani for inviting me and for being the host for tonight's event. Glad to be here with you and share things that I do outside my testing projects that increased my passion towards software testing and also helped me develop the tester mindset. So thank you for all our attendees and for all those who are interested to know how we can extend our testing capabilities when we are not testing. I have a great pleasure sharing my presentation with you today about testing beyond your project. So let me tell you more about me. I'm Emna Ayadi from Tunisia. I discovered testing since graduation, since 2015. So it's been more than 5 years in the world of software testing and the quality assurance, and I really enjoy it. Currently, I'm a test coach. I animate different workshops and ceremonies combined like between testing and Scrum things that aims to empower the testers in their project and also responsible to define the testing strategy and the automation strategy within the organization. Add to that, I recently wrote the book with Ardo Kramer about 21st century skills for testers that you can find it on LeanPub using that hashtag on social media as well. I started blogging during the pandemic and I continue until now. I really enjoyed sharing my knowledge with all testers and others. As Bhavani said, I'm passionate about garden and I always try to find a new kind of flowers like colorful sunflowers instead of the yellow one. One personal story, which is not that funny, I ordered on some different flowers from London because it's abroad. Customers take it out and saying that it's totally forbidden to bring seeds from a different country. So let's go into the conference. I'll start off this presentation by asking you a question. How can testers survive in an agile environment? Feel free to share your idea in chat and let's see. So in our today fast-changing world, testers should adapt and react wisely to those changes. Yes. So as we saw different inputs from the audience on how testers can survive in an agile environment, we can talk about the testing manifesto created by Karen and Samantha. Referring to this manifesto, we value testing throughout the development process. We focus on preventing bugs. We test much more than functionality. and of course, the whole team take responsibility for quality. This manifesto reflects on the mindset shift needed for a successful agile testing approach. That mindset shift requires many open-minded testers having different skills combined between technical and human skills to make this transformation successful. Technical things can be learned, and there are even testers with no initial technical background who joined the world of software testing and start investigating, learning until they become even full stack testers. But here, human skills are really crucial to make this change happen and to make it visible. In the 21st century skills for testers, in our book, me and Art Kramer, we focused mainly on those human skills because they are really important in nowadays people, and especially for software people. They are really interesting. We find out that those skills are called the 4C, which are critical thinking, as you can see in the picture. It's in fact, testing is being able to see things differently, imagine other perspectives, and contribute to the success of the product, project, and the team. Communication is like a set of interaction by different humans involved in the project. Collaboration is the act of working or thinking together to achieve a goal. So as two or more people who collaborate together in order to achieve a certain goal. Creativity, the 4th C, is the ability of an individual or group to imagine or construct and implement a new concept or object to discover an original solution to a problem. In this talk, we will see how we can develop those skills even outside of our daily testing activity and the project. A few months ago, I tweeted about it and I asked people to name a non-testing related activity that improved their testing. And I got lots of interesting thoughts from the testing community, which really inspired me because I really have many tips and I wanted to see more. So I sorted them out, all my tips and the different inputs that I got from the global community. And I wanted to make this talk. So you will see different activities that I recommend from my side, and also a quote for some people who participated with their thoughts related to different activities that improved their tester mindset, which makes the agenda of today's presentation on this way. In this talk, we will focus on different activities that are not related to test, and you'll find out that how we can apply them to become a better tester and to develop skills even outside of working hour. We will see like creative thinking, continuous learning, collaboration, how to make a community of practice and gamify your testing activities. And we will end at the end with the mindfulness and the conclusion. So let's start with creative thinking. Creative thinking is the ability to consider something in a new way. It's about thinking outside the box. It might be a new approach to a problem, a resolution to a conflict between employees, or even a new result. Your curiosity can make you even more creative by asking some questions that allow you to know your why and what, based on systematic questioning in order to turn the problem in all directions, to break it down into all dimensions and open up the field of possible solution. One of the testers replied to that tweet. She's called Masha. She said that curiosity in everyday life, question everything, it means internal monologue of questioning without limits and getting responses, sometimes internally, whereas externally. Our brain is a muscle that must be trained. And she said also that questioning is like a squat, like we do a squat for our body and for bodybuilding. We do questioning to refresh our minds and to think about different options. As you can see in the picture, we can ask why, what, how. So those questions can really trigger a nice discussion and a better understanding of things that are not very well known by the team. And they can even make you discover the unknown, because when you ask, with the new answer that you get, maybe a new idea comes to your mind, so you will ask a new question, which is really great because you will know more things. Maybe you will discover a bug then. To organize your idea and drive your testing well, think about structuring your question. It's really important to think in a creative way, explore and imagine more useful cases. Here, for example, Kevin said, recognizing habits in daily life that affect and question the way you test certain things. I've started using Schrodinger's cat paradox to identify certain gaps in the requirement. So here we talk about cat and requirement. What's the relationship? In fact, I didn't know before about that cat until Kevin said that. So I Googled it and I see that this is an interesting paradox. It's about when you place a cat in a box with a teeny radioactive substance. When the radioactive substance decays, it triggers a counter which causes a poison or explosion to be released that kills the cat. The cat ends up in both cases, whether dead or alive at the same time. So now imagine the situation when you have a mobile phone where you have an internet connection and suddenly you go into an elevator. It usually happens for us all the day when you use elevator. That exact moment between having a signal and not having a signal, because the internet can drop at any time in the elevator. So how does the app need to react when handling crucial information? Like, for example, you are on the elevator and you have a payment, online payment, for example. So how do we test something that is both working and not working at the same time, which is really contradictory to each other? So this is a way of thinking that could relevate new test cases that you can test them before happening on the client side and leads to bad behavior, maybe, or a loss of money, or I don't know. Sketchnoting, another thing related to creative thinking. Think about visualizing your idea into a structured way, which can improve your listening and pay attention to information that's important. So it helps in meeting, as Antonella said. Track all the sketch note, allow her to see how much she learned and which increases her confidence as a tester. So it's really important if you think how to visualize your idea when you attend the conference or you attend the meeting. It's really important. Being curious and continuous learner is mandatory to live in this fast-moving world. Reading through forums where users comment about how they use the app, also related diving into the customer support tickets, explain and comments in general. As an example, you can learn user experience, customer experience, and even product ownership. It helps you ask the right question. Maybe Bhavani can improve that because she's on the product management side as well. It helps you ask the right question to the customer, and in addition, it improves communication with the developer because you know another perspective, how to see the product from a customer perspective side and from the user side. The use of user and customer-centric quality approach can even guide your test. When you understand the concept of the final product, your automation framework or exploratory test or other will be even more valuable, and you will make sure that the version is what the customer would like to have. There are also variety of books in the world of software testing. Be sure to find out which ones interest you the most. I personally, recently I'm reading this one, the one related to the science of lean software and the DevOps, the Accelerate book. It's very interesting that I highly recommend. I also ordered recently this one about a journey through test automation patterns, which is interesting to learn about how to write high quality automated tests using the right design patterns, etc. So usually you need to find the books that are related to your learning journey, and maybe you'll find new information, new idea how to apply them via books. Another thing, do not limit yourself to just reading. Think about contributing to the community, share your story, and read stories of other people involved in the community. For example, recently during the pandemic, until now, there are many books written by the whole community. The one that Viv Richard initiate is 80 software people, software testers around the world with 80 software testing. Sorry for that. So another book is Software People Work from Home. It's like a book which is combined with different stories from the testers community, like that one by Stefan and Mike. And recently, Melissa Fisher released a book called Testing Stories, with different stories that could inspire you and your journey being a tester. So not only that, think about even initiating your own book. Think about a new idea and collect stories from the testing community and then combine them into a book by adding your thoughts and link between stories. Also, I'm quite sure a few of you have reference blogs for new testing techniques or automation tool, test management, or other testing practices. Like you have a reference, and every time you want to go there and see what this person is saying about this topic. But did you ever think of starting your own blog and your own learning journey? If you don't mind that you are a good writer or you want to write, and even if it bothers you, go ahead and start it, because when you push your limit and go outside your comfort zone, this is where the magic happens, and you will be more motivated and more involved into your learning. I invite you all to start your personal blog. I really enjoyed the experience to share your idea and follow your learning to deepen your knowledge on a particular subject that you are currently learning in. Also, there is a blogger club by Ministry of Testing. Even if you don't know what to write about, they make a monthly blog challenge. Like every month they make a topic, and all the testers write about the same topic, but their own story. So it's a good way to share and learn from the testing communities. Another thing that I recently discovered in less than 1 month ago, it's called Racket. But it's not the one about sport, but it's the one about like a small podcast. What could be useful for? It's like to use Racket, it's like a platform, racket.com, where you can record any short message you want. The most important, you don't exceed 9 minutes, and you share your thoughts related to software testing or anything you want to share. It's really interesting because making a Racket already gives you the courage to speak in front of public. It's also a way to visualize and share your thoughts in audio, even if you don't like to write blogs, or you want to make a writing and also an audio. So it's your opportunity. It's also a way of doing short podcast, which is less formal than the long one. And you can also make a different trigger conversation between people. You can ask a question and other people in Racket will answer you with an audio message or comments. So it's really interesting and dynamic for building communities and to share your thoughts, your knowledge, your learning. I invite you all to go further. With all of that, it's good, but let's see what we can add as testers. It's true that our focus is on testing, don't forget that. But in addition to your regular activity, I find it great to follow monitoring activities, for example, understand the concepts of software architecture as well on the process, knowing that the future of automation is not to focus on the automation of test, but automation, we want to focus on automating the whole organizational process, which give you a broader view of what you want to achieve, and suddenly your test will be even more valuable and it open up a lot of horizon. As Eric mentioned in the tweet that I posted, that he dedicated some of his time to learning development like API, web, or mobile. It helps him identify errors early in the development process, and even the communication with the development team has been improved because it's a way to engage early with development team while pairing with them. You can suggest fix or explain possible causes. When you talk technically to developer, they will enjoy it even more. You are not just a tester from the UI perspective, but you also understand other layers. Really, developers appreciate that. So it's a good way to make your learning visible into your team. It's also good to help each other. Pairing together as testers, even outside the project, is really important. It could generate lots of new ideas and different learning opportunities. For that, think about ways you can use to offer help for others and collaborate with them. For example, you can review someone else's presentation and provide your feedback. We really need that support within the testing community. I personally review some of my community and friends' presentation, and I also ask for review when I'm going to make a talk, because when you share the knowledge with someone else and you have different idea, you have different question from them, so it could generate new idea, and certainly they will improve your conference talk. You can find different ways of pairing together in our free time. For that, choose different topics and initiate your learning journey with people that are interested to pair with you. I created an interview category in my blog. You can check it in social media tester story hashtag, where I post testers stories. It's like I have an interview which is written about a topic that me and someone else want to go deeper into it via a personal story. So I trigger different questions and they answer them, and we make a review together, and then we share it even if we are done. So it's a way to talk to other people and to exchange idea from question and answer. For example, interview number 6 with Lavina. She's an expert on data science and testing. I personally, I didn't have a knowledge on data science before, but when I pair with her and we learn together, it's a great chance for me to discover a bit about how to design data science model, how to combine it to testing. So it's a great opportunity. Pairing can enable you more learning. Even Elizabeth Hook, she defined a testing tool. You can find it via the hashtag on Twitter. Testing tool is like you fix a topic in your head, you and someone else, you can study it or from based on your experience, and then you fix a meeting and share your knowledge together. It's like a learning group between two people or even more if you want, which is really interesting. And this is what nowadays testers need to have that new idea and new information. So what kind of activities we can make to break silos at work? For example, we can have testers or developers that are really isolated and they are not really involved in the different organization teams. For that, I advise you to think about communities, whether join existing ones or even create yours. If you don't have one near you or in your organization, think about creating a community of practice in order to build the tester mindset. But what is first communities of practice? Let's define it. It's known as COP, community of practice. It's a combination of three things: community, domain, and not only interest, but practice. It represents a group of people who share a concern or passion for something they do and learn how to do it better because they interact regularly. I want to focus on the sense of a community, which is important for any community, and what you need to remember when you start a community, and it is also effective in your teams. The first is membership. You have to understand the criteria of being a member in a safe environment where you can make mistakes, ask a question without being shy. The second is influence. The community has an influence on the members, and also the members have influence on the community. Then members need to feel rewarded, and especially when they are volunteers. So think about small rewards, even a thank you messages or a thank you on social media or anything. The most important, make them feel rewarded. And finally, the emotional connection. Is good to share your story and participants for all members. I've been involved in different communities since the start of my career in both French and English communities. And I really enjoy it because it helped me to see different perspectives, to ask questions, and I got answers. So it helps me a lot in my career to get that overview about testing and to see people in meetups sharing idea. I even created mine 2 or 3 years ago. So it's really important for every one of us. Integrating a community of practice into Agile organization has lots of benefits for both individuals and groups. The photo that you see here illustrates the knowledge iceberg, the knowledge of each individual represented by the small end up, which is the explicit knowledge that everyone can have, while the bottom part represents knowledge that we have, which is much more important, and it is proliferating more and more using communities of practice. You have to know how to use this knowledge, because knowledge is treasure and practice is the key to obtain it. Do you want to add more fun to your journey? So let's go ahead. Try gamification in testing. Do you know it? Share us in chat if you know any game related to testing. I personally used the famous test sphere to launch risk storming workshop. I don't know if you already know it or not. This is where participants had the chance to talk together, even if they didn't know each other before. It's a collaborative way to exchange ideas. Their goal is to learn how to establish a test strategy in the project by identifying risk at the beginning and using different techniques, etc. I highly recommend this game. It brings lots of new idea with lots of example included in the cards. And there is even an extension, which is a test sphere arena. It's like you are playing Uno card, but with the risk storming. Another game that highly interests me, I didn't few time ago, which is Agile testing coaching cards. If you want to learn about it, you can see it's from Ben Linders. Reading the practice in every card can generate great discussion in teams and help them decide to try out testing techniques or change their way of working. For example, this deck contains 99 cards. When you read each card within your team or your community, you can say that, for example, this card, I'm doing it in my project. So I put it somewhere already doing. And if the card is completely new, but in a kind, you are making it, but you are not that familiar with it, you put it in another column, which is not often. And the third column is like this practice, which is written in the card about agile testing. I don't know it at all, completely new to me. So you put it in the third column. And after the end of this workshop, you know that there are some technique you are already good at it. So don't bring it again because you are already practicing them. But go to techniques that you don't know at all and start trigger a discussion with your team. This technique is completely new. So how can we integrate it in our project? Try to trigger discussion and even check blogs on the internet or what people said about it, and try to discuss with your community how can you bring the value from this card into reality. How can you apply it into your project? It's really great because you will apply it, and it's also a practice for agile testing. Another game, which is Pragma Cards. It's about the game that delivers. It's mostly for people who want to learn more about DevOps and how to design their continuous delivery pipeline and brainstorm about different stages in the pipeline. For example, if you want to make your pipeline faster, maybe there are some steps that could be in parallel. So why you spend all the time to make it one by one while you can do it in parallel? This game can bring you new idea and make discussion within the whole team. How can we build the continuous delivery pipeline? There is also a game which is questions for testers. This one is created by James Lindsay. It's like you trigger a question in a less formal way between testers. So it's like to break silos, and you can use it as an icebreaker with your community. Let's move to another one. Another activity, it's clean coffee. Participating in virtual coffee exchanges is really great to interact with different people from different countries and teams. I really encourage you to make any kind of virtual coffee. You can, for example, in Slack channel, there is a Donit app that you can integrate it with Slack that create discussions, like lean coffee discussion between Slack member. You force them to make the discussion. We even ran a meetup between me in Tunisia, Barcelona, and via Antonella, Ministry of Testing Barcelona, and also Salta, Argentina. We created a meetup together with different people from different places in the world to discuss different things related to test automation and how to present reports to stakeholders. And we got participants from more than 14 countries, which is really interesting to exchange an idea while drinking a coffee with the whole testing community. It's a great practice that I encourage you to make it. To do all of that, you need your energy, right? And also you need to be focused well. So for that, it is very difficult to concentrate on something when the working place is full of noise and chat. What to do? How to get enough of this challenge? Meditation is the way out. It may seem stupid and useless, but meditation really helps you to concentrate on needed things. Before starting, for example, your mobile testing or web testing or anything, the testing zone should be identified and created. It is a special mental state that helps the tester to concentrate on the task. To reach this state, you should meditate for 5 to 7 minutes before beginning a new task. Pretty soon, with the help of meditation, a tester will stay calm and concentrated, even in a very noisy room. So be patient and conduct software testing effectively. Find your focus. For example, one of the people that I asked in the tweet that I showed you at the beginning, she's Elena. She said that playing the piano help her to find her focus. It's like the combination between functional and non-functional testing. It's like the technical playing the notes, which is functional, and non-functional, it's like the expression, what we hear. So this is like requirements to achieve. So it's interesting to compare what you do in testing in another thing, which can bring you more idea and motivation. For that, we are close to the end. Specializing generalists know a lot of things. Here we talk about T-shaped software tester. It's like a combination of specialist and generalist. So this combination lead to the culture of quality, look for improvement, being open to learning and change. This is what we need. Actually, those motivated testers, those are the testers that we need to drive this transformation and to live in this fast-moving world. Testing is a continuous activity. We should remember that. So it's good to have that big picture and whole vision about the different activities. T-shaped testers are gold. To conclude, the link that I wanted to make using this Dan Ashby diagram about the continuous testing, Um, the link that I wanted to make between the test in your project and beyond your project corresponds to the necessary change of testers and the whole development team, so they can overcome this word of fast past and having that mindset to ensure continuous testing activity. With that, I reached the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to your feedback. You can find me in all social media through my website, emnaayadi.com. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any question or comment or any feedback. Thank you so much for having me and for everyone who joined us today. Thank
Yamna,
you.
Yamna, we have a few questions came. Yeah.
Mhm.
The one question is Kanaga Sabai Sudarshan. He is asking that how to update me as a professional tester. Yeah.
Thank you for this question. So you mean like someone who want to get better tester?
Yeah. He wanted to be a better tester. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Professionally, he wanted to hone his skills. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, for example, I don't know what kind of, how many years of experience he have or she have, if it's at the beginning or at the end. So I'll try to make the answer standard so that everyone can get benefit from it. For me, I think that being a professional tester is good what you are doing in your project. But as I said in my talk, try to be more open. Try to be open-minded to conferences that are over the world, especially when we move to remote, so you don't need to travel to attend the conference. There are always meetups and conferences online that you can find them. There are different communities. You can join communities, or you can even launch your own community. Try to be that person who always curious to learn a new thing, updated to the market. um, I think also ask, don't hesitate to ask if you have any question. There are like Stack Overflow for developers that use, there is also one for testers, and there is also the club of Ministry of Testing where you can ask any question related to career development or anything that you are facing as a tester. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you, Yamna. And the
Thank
next
you.
question is from Muhammad Aslan. He is asking about what factors should be kept in mind while selecting test management tools and project management tools. From your experience, please share your ideas. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for such interesting question. Well, from my side, I think first thing you need to understand your needs. So I'm sure that there are special needs in a project in your context that are probably different from my context or Bhavani context. So first, try to understand your needs, understand the goals of the project, the objectives, the vision. Start evaluating the tool after that fit your vision first, your needs, and then your budget. Because if the tool fit your project, your vision, but it doesn't fit your budget, maybe you cannot afford it, so you cannot use it. So try to make that combination between things related to your vision, your budget, and also I'm sure that you are using another tools. So make sure that this tool fit the previous tools to avoid that such losing your data and what you are using before. Try to make that combination between existing and new perspective. Check also the compatibility with the development environment, with IT people, with DevOps, with try to make check if the tool also offers the basics feature that you need for your test management. Do you have any KPIs that you use, or I don't know what kind of things that you are using? Try to make sure that the tool answer your needs. Also, the tool must be understandable by different people in the project. So it's good to have tools, but sometimes if it's not understandable by the whole team, it could be a bit difficult for you.
Yeah, Yamna. Actually, the collaboration between the team is important, and the adaptability is also important to get the
Exactly.
success in
Yes.
implementation of any tool. Yeah, thank you
Absolutely.
for that.
Yes.
Yeah, the next question is from Usman Tariq. He is asking, he is currently working as an ML engineer. He wanted to switch to QA
Sorry,
engineer.
can you repeat?
Um, Usman Tariq, he is currently working as ML engineer, machine learning engineer.
Ah, yeah,
He
I got
wanted
you.
to switch to QA engineer. So, yeah, any specific advice to him? Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting question. Thank you for asking it. And also interesting move. First, machine learning is something very trending. So switching to QA, and don't forget first your machine learning background. Try to find that QA job, which is a tester of things related to machine learning, algorithms, and things like that. So this combination will make you a really good specializing generalist, because you will be specialized in machine learning and also generalist in testing. You combine both. This is where the magic can happen, and you will have a great career, like double combined career. Then what you start as a tester, let's now go deeper into starting your journey as a tester. So for tester people, if you are first time as a tester, so you don't know the basics maybe of testing, you have the technical skills in machine learning, but what about testing? There are lots of courses that are available online. For example, the Ministry of Testing community, there are a lot of blogs, of masterclass, of recorded talks from previous conferences. Many of them talk about what are the things that you need as a tester in your start, or for example, the move to a new test manager or any kind of roles. You can find such information, or even ask in the club of Ministry of Testing. I personally, when I started the project as a tester, I started from scratch without even knowing the role exists, because I know a little bit of finance engineering. So with my computer science background and little knowledge in finance, I'm hired because I will test trading mobile apps, which are finance application. And I have that little knowledge of finance, which really drove me to learn testing, because when you start using your knowledge as a user and you explore the product, you start thinking about different test cases that could happen. And you can start then automation if you want to automate such test cases. So it's like step by step. Draw your roadmap. What are the things that you need as a tester? For example, you start with the basics, understand the global overview, understand a little bit of DevOps to know how to design the continuous delivery pipeline, understand how to automate tests, what pick a language, C Test Automation University, if you want to learn how to automate test cases. Um, think about how to communicate bugs to developers. What are the bugs that could exist? Try to make like step by step, see what are the things that you need the most. Remove barriers. If something is blocking you, try to define it and why it's blocking you. Read books of software testing, and step by step you will arrive.
Yeah. Thank you, Emna. And one more question is from ICE, how to start QA job as a fresher? From the attendees, one of the person has asked. Yeah.
That's really interesting question, and I always got that question in LinkedIn or Twitter. I even write a blog about it, how I started my journey as a software tester. So there are lots of recommendations in my blog. Don't hesitate to check them. I write a whole blog, so maybe now I will give a short answer, but I write a blog about how to start your journey as a tester. To keep it short, there are certification like ISTQB or BBST certification. There is Ministry of Testing with lots of data, lots of knowledge shared there. Also connect with the testing community. See, for example, leaders, software people, software testing people who are leaders in the industry. Try to follow them. I'm sure that everyone have lots of knowledge that share via Twitter or via his blog, and try to see what are the things they are focusing in and where are you comparing to them. Try to follow them. Try to like make them your example and see what are the role that you want to be. If you are more into technical, so go follow more automation engineer people, software development in test, for example. Or if you want to go into management, test manager, for example, try to see a direction where you want to be and try to find an example of the person in that position. Try to follow them and see what are their journey looks like. Also ask them, don't hesitate. I personally, when I started, I was the only tester in a startup, and I don't know. My project manager was the one who guided me in testing, and I was always asking her what are the things that I need to do, how to do things. I'm blocked. Can you help me? So don't be afraid. Go and ask. People really helpful, more than you can imagine.
Yeah, and Emna, thank you for that. And the last one, final question. Yeah, the suggest any Poonam Ramesh from the audience. Suggest any book for QA fresher. A new by to testing. Yeah.
Yes, I have this. Actually, I recommend the Agile testing of Lisa
Yeah.
Crispin and Janet Gregory. They have also a condensed book, which is not that heavy. It's like a combination of many agile practices that you need to make. And for every practice, it's like describe it shortly because it's the condensed version. And if you want to go more, go to the agile testing and more agile testing, there are a lot of useful details about it and how to implement it in your team, how to use it, etc. So for me, this book, I use it as a reference. I understand a lot more, like for example mapping or impact mapping or continuous testing, DevOps in testing in DevOps, or there are lots of interesting chapters, and every one of them is required knowledge for testers. So it's really important to know about it from the book of Lisa and Janet.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I have also personally read this book and I love that book also. Yeah, uh, thank you so much, Emna, once again. And thank you all attendees. Yeah, we will
Thank you
meet
so
in
much for having me.
our next QA Touch Masterclass. Yeah, thank you. Bye. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.